The truth. No one tells you about visceral fat. You may be looking at your weight every day and believing you understand where your body stands. The number doesn't seem too high, your clothes still fit, and you assume everything is fine. But there is a truth most people are never clearly told. The number on the scale barely reflects the most dangerous process happening inside you. Visceral fat does not appear the way you think. It is not sitting under your skin where you can see it in the mirror. It lies deep inside the abdominal cavity, surrounding the liver, pancreas, kidneys, and intestines, the organs that determine your survival every day. And precisely because it is hidden so deeply, you may have no idea it is accumulating. There are people who look very lean on the outside, yet carry dangerously high levels of visceral fat internally. Science calls this condition TOFI, thin outside, fat inside. And the real concern is not just the amount of fat, but how this type of fat behaves. Visceral fat is not a passive storage reserve. It is highly biologically active tissue. It constantly releases inflammatory substances into the bloodstream, traveling directly to the liver and disrupting your entire metabolic system. From there, a cascade of problems begins. Insulin resistance, increased bad cholesterol, elevated blood pressure, and a growing risk of chronic diseases such as type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular conditions over time. What makes this even more concerning is that all of this can develop silently over many years without you realizing it. This is why so many people are shocked when medical tests come back with poor results, even though they always believed they were fine. And this is also why conventional weight loss methods often fail to solve the real problem. Because you are trying to reduce what you can see, while the most dangerous fat exists where you cannot see it. If you don't change your approach, you remain stuck in the same cycle. Effort, no results, and eventual burnout. But modern science points to a different path. Not all foods are the same. Some foods can directly influence the biological mechanisms of visceral fat, not by simply reducing calories, but by changing the internal signals within your body. And that is exactly what this video will show you. Food hasone, fatty fish, reprogramming inflammation at the cellular level. When it comes to fat loss, most people immediately think about cutting fat intake. But here lies the first paradox. Certain fats are actually the most powerful tools for reducing visceral fat. Fatty fish, such as salmon, mackerel, and sardines, are not just sources of protein. They provide EPA and DHA, two forms of omega-3 that directly impact inflammation pathways in the body. And this is the key detail most people miss. Not all omega-3s are the same. Plant-based sources like flaxseed provide ALA, but your body must convert it into EPA and DHA, and this conversion process is extremely inefficient. That means you may be eating correctly, in theory, yet not achieving the real biological effect. In contrast, EPA from fatty fish can be directly incorporated into your cell membranes, replacing a compound called arachidonic acid, the raw material used to produce inflammatory signals that promote visceral fat storage. When EPA becomes dominant, these fat-promoting signals decrease, and your body begins to shift how it manages energy. This is not just theory. Clinical studies have shown that supplementing EPA and DHA for around 12 weeks can significantly reduce trunk fat, including visceral fat, without major changes in diet or exercise. This reveals a fundamental principle. Your body does not just respond to how much you eat. It responds to the signals your food sends. Change the signal, and you change the system. And that is the first step to breaking free from the cycle of fat accumulation. Food #2, fermented foods, repairing the body's control center. If you think visceral fat is only about how much you eat, you are missing one of the most critical factors, your gut microbiome. Your gut doesn't just digest food, it is a living ecosystem that communicates with your immune system, your hormones, and even your fat tissue. When this microbiome becomes imbalanced, certain harmful bacteria begin producing inflammatory compounds. And when the gut barrier is weakened, a very common outcome of highly processed foods or chronic stress, these substances can leak into the bloodstream. The result is a low-grade but persistent inflammatory state, strong enough to push your body into energy storage mode. This is why many people don't overeat, yet still accumulate belly fat. The issue is not just the quantity of food, it's the internal environment. Fermented foods such as kefir, kimchi, miso, and live culture yogurt help restore microbial balance and strengthen the gut barrier. When this happens, inflammation decreases, and so do the signals that promote fat storage. Recent studies have shown that diets rich in fermented foods can significantly reduce inflammatory markers linked to visceral fat within just a few weeks. This reveals a deeper truth. You cannot solve a biological problem with willpower alone. You must change the internal biological environment, and when that environment shifts, your body begins to shift with it. Food #3. Berries. Stopping fat formation at its source. Most fat loss strategies focus on burning fat, but very few people consider preventing the body from creating new fat in the first place. This is where berries such as blueberries, raspberries, and cherries become powerful. They contain anthocyanins, a group of compounds known for reducing inflammation and, more importantly, interfering with the formation of new fat cells. When this process is suppressed, your body stops expanding its fat storage capacity the way it used to. This creates a long-term advantage. The fewer fat cells your body generates, the easier it becomes to manage visceral fat over time. In addition, anthocyanins improve insulin sensitivity, a key factor in controlling fat storage. When insulin functions efficiently, your body is less likely to store excess energy as fat. This explains why people who consume more berries often have lower levels of visceral fat even when their calorie intake is similar to others. Once again, it comes back to the same principle. Your body responds to signals, not just calories. And when you provide the right signals, you don't need to force change. Your body adapts naturally. Food #4. Extra virgin olive oil. Regulating hormones and metabolic state. Not all fats are created equal. Extra virgin olive oil contains active compounds that refined oils lose, most notably oleocanthal, a powerful anti-inflammatory agent. But the deeper impact lies in its hormonal effects. Extra virgin olive oil stimulates the release of GLP-1, a hormone that reduces appetite, slows digestion, and improves insulin sensitivity. When these three factors shift, your body moves out of a storage state. It transitions into a more balanced condition where energy is used more efficiently. Research on the Mediterranean diet has consistently shown that incorporating extra virgin olive oil can reduce visceral fat more effectively than many conventional dieting approaches. This highlights a crucial point. Choosing the right type of fat can fundamentally change how your body operates. It's not about eating less fat, it's about eating the right kind of fat. Food #5. Green tea, matcha. Reactivating a dormant, fat-burning mechanism. Most weight loss methods try to force the body to burn fat, but green tea works differently. It helps extend your body's natural fat-burning state. The key compound in green tea, EGCG, inhibits an enzyme called COMT, the enzyme responsible for breaking down norepinephrine, a hormone that signals fat cells to release stored energy. When this enzyme is suppressed, norepinephrine remains active for longer periods, and as a result, fat-burning processes are sustained. This effect is particularly noticeable in abdominal fat and visceral fat. However, the critical factor is not how much you drink, but how consistently you consume it. Studies show that the benefits only appear when intake is maintained over several weeks. Your body responds to repeated signals, not short bursts of effort. And this is where most people go wrong. This is not a list. It's a biological strategy. If you look at these 5 foods as just a list, you will miss the most important point. Each one targets a different part of your system: reducing inflammation, restoring gut health, preventing new fat formation, regulating hormones, and activating fat-burning pathways. When combined, they create an internal environment where visceral fat is no longer prioritized for storage. And that is how you truly change your body from the inside, not by force, but by adjusting the system itself. Once you understand this, you stop fighting your body. You start working with it. And that's when real transformation begins.